Welcome to the latest 338 Canada federal projection as of March 25th, 2025. With the next federal election on the horizon, the latest polling and seat projections reveal a shifting political landscape across Canada. Let's break down the numbers region by region to see where each party stands in the race for parliament. National seat projection, the Liberal Party, LPC, is leading the race with 185 seats within a projected range of 159 to 212. The Conservatives, CPC, trail at 126 seats, ranging from 100 to 151. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, stands at 24 seats, with a low of 17 and a high of 31. The NDP is struggling, projected at 7 seats, with a potential low of just 1. The Green Party, GPC, may only secure 1 seat, with a possible shutout at 0. Now let's break it down by region. Atlantic Canada, 32 seats. The Liberals dominate with 29 seats, possibly winning anywhere from 25 to 32. The Conservatives could take 3 seats, but their range is 0 to 7. Quebec, 78 seats. The Liberals hold 40 seats, with a possible range of 34 to 48. The Bloc Québécois follows with 24 seats, ranging between 17 and 31. The Conservatives secure 13 seats with little movement. The NDP holds on to just 1 seat. Ontario, 122 seats. The Liberals maintain a strong 78 seats, possibly increasing to 90. The Conservatives stand at 40 seats with a possible dip to 30. The NDP struggles with 3 seats, ranging from 0 to 5. The Greens may take 1 seat but could be shut out. The Prairies, 28 seats. The Conservatives dominate with 20 seats. The Liberals secure 8 seats, with a ceiling of 11. The NDP could win up to 2 seats, but may be wiped out. Alberta, 37 seats. The Conservatives hold 30 seats, ranging from 24 to 36. The Liberals trail with 5 seats, but could win up to 11. The NDP has 2 seats, possibly reaching 3. British Columbia, 43 seats. The Conservatives gain ground with 22 seats, potentially 16 to 28. The Liberals hold 20 seats, but could slide to 15. The NDP struggles at 1 seat, ranging from 0 to 3. The Greens may not win any. Territories, 3 seats. The Liberals may sweep all 3 seats, but could drop to 1. The NDP risks losing its presence. Now let's look at the 338 Canada popular vote projection nationally. The Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, leads with 41% support, with a margin of error of 5%, placing their estimated vote range between 36% and 46%. The Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, follows closely at 37%, with a 4% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 33% to 41%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, stands at 10% with a 2% margin of error, bringing their estimated support between 8% and 12%. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, which competes only in Quebec, holds 7% nationally, with a 1% margin of error, placing their support between 6% and 8%. Lastly, the Green Party of Canada, GPC, stands at 4%, with a 2% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 2% to 6%. With these numbers, the Liberals hold a narrow national lead, while the Conservatives remain competitive, keeping the race tight. In Atlantic Canada, the Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, leads with 56% support, with a margin of error of 7%, placing their estimated vote range between 49% and 63%. The Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, follows at 30%, with a 6% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 24% to 36%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, stands at 8%, with a 3% margin of error, bringing their estimated support between 5% and 11%. Lastly, the Green Party of Canada, GPC, holds 4%, with a 2% margin of error, placing their support between 2% and 6%. With these numbers, the Liberals maintain a dominant position in Atlantic Canada, while the Conservatives trail behind, and support for the NDP and Greens remains in the single digits. In Quebec, the Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, leads with 38% support, with a 6% margin of error, placing their estimated vote range between 32% and 44%. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, follows at 27% with a 4% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 23% to 31%. The Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, stands at 22%, also with a 4% margin of error, putting their estimated support between 18% and 26%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, holds 6% with a 2% margin of error, bringing their vote range between 4% and 8%. Finally, the Green Party of Canada, GPC, sits at 3% with a 2% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 1% to 5%. With these numbers, the Liberals hold a solid lead in Quebec, while the Bloc Québécois and Conservatives remain competitive. Support for the NDP and Greens remains in the low single digits. In Ontario, the Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, leads with 45% support, with a 6% margin of error, placing their estimated vote range between 39% and 51%. The Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, follows closely at 39%, also with a 6% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 33% to 45%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, holds 10%, with a 3% margin of error, bringing their estimated support between 7% and 13%. Finally, the Green Party of Canada, GPC, stands at 4%, with a 2% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 2% to 6%. With these numbers, Ontario remains a key battleground, with the Liberals holding an edge, but the Conservatives staying within striking distance. The NDP and Greens trail far behind. In the prairies, the Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, holds a strong lead with 49% support, with a 6% margin of error, placing their estimated vote range between 43% and 55%. The Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, follows at 33%, with a 5% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 28% to 38%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, sits at 12%, with a 3% margin of error, bringing their estimated vote range between 9% and 15%. Finally, the Green Party of Canada, GPC, stands at 3%, with a 2% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 1% to 5%. With these numbers, the Conservatives maintain a dominant position in the prairies, while the Liberals show some upward movement. The NDP and Greens remain in single digits. In Alberta, the Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, maintains a commanding lead with 55% support, with a 6% margin of error, placing their estimated vote range between 49% and 61%. The Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, follows at 28%, with a 5% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 23% to 33%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, holds 11%, with a 3% margin of error, bringing their estimated support between 8% and 14%. With these numbers, the Conservatives continue to dominate in Alberta, while the Liberals show some growth. The NDP remains in the low double digits. In British Columbia, the Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, and the Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, are locked in a tight race, both at 40% support. With a 6% margin of error, their estimated vote ranges sit between 34% and 46%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, holds 14% with a 4% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 10% to 18%. The Green Party of Canada, GPC, stands at 5% with a 3% margin of error, placing their estimated support between 2% and 8%. With these numbers, British Columbia remains a battleground province with the Conservatives and Liberals neck and neck, while the NDP and Greens trail behind. In the territories, the Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, leads with 45% support with a 9% margin of error, placing their estimated vote range between 36% and 54%. The Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, follows at 28% with an 8% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 20% to 36%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, holds 20% with a 7% margin of error, bringing their estimated support between 13% and 27%. Finally, the Green Party of Canada, GPC, stands at 6% with a 4% margin of error, meaning their support could range from 2% to 10%. With these numbers, the Liberals hold a clear lead in the territories, while the Conservatives and NDP remain competitive. The Greens continue to have a small but notable presence. With these projections, the Liberal Party remains in the lead, inching past the 172-seat majority threshold, while the Conservatives continue to hold strong in key battlegrounds. The Bloc Québécois, NDP, and Greens face uphill battles as the election draws closer. What do you think about these latest projections? Will the Liberals hold their lead, or can the Conservatives close the gap? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth election coverage. Stay tuned for the latest updates on Canada's road to Election Day.